Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Drop your name in the chat, guys. Drop your name in the chat, guys. Let's go. Everyone, drop your name in the chat. Drop your names in the chat, guys. Drop your name in the chat, everybody. Let's go. Hey, Jaxie, how are you? How are you doing? Welcome. Hi, Dominic. Hey, Star. Hey, David. How are you guys doing? Maria, hi. All right, guys, let's start. Let's do this. All right, our first name is Sierra. Okay, Sierra. Here you go. The next name. Good, Anna, good. Good to know. All right, then our next name is, let's do Maria. Thank you, Maria, for subscribing. Here you go. Then our next name in the chat. Our next subscriber in the chat is Hannah. Let's do Hannah. All right. Then our next subscriber in the chat is Layla. Here you go, Layla. Thank you so much for subscribing. Our next subscriber in the chat is Glenn. Here you go, Glenn. Thank you so much for subscribing. Our next subscriber in the chat is Sebek. Here you go. How are you doing, Sebek? How are you? Our next subscriber in the chat is Riley. Where are you watching from, Riley? Here you go. Thank you so much for subscribing, Riley. Then our next subscriber in the chat is David. All right, David, here you go. Thank you so much for subscribing. Our next subscriber in the chat is Otawe. Otawe, where are you from, Otawe? Tell me in the chat, where are you from? My next subscriber in the chat is Oscar. All right, Oscar, where are you from, Oscar? Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. Then we got is Sophia in the chat who subscribed. Thank you, Sophia, so much for subscribing. All right, my next subscriber is Junaid. Here you go, Junaid. Thank you so much for subscribing. Junaid, thank you so much for subscribing. Our next subscriber in the chat is JJ. Here you go, JJ. Thank you so much for subscribing, JJ. My next subscriber in the chat is Mirha. Here you go, Mirha. Thank you so much for subscribing, Mirha. My next subscriber in the chat is Bio. Here you go. All right, our next subscriber in the chat is Dingo. Here you go. Thank you, Dingo, for subscribing. All right. Our next subscriber in the chat is Miley. Thank you so much, Miley, for subscribing to me. Then our next subscriber in the chat is Max. All right, Max, how are you? Where are you watching from? Then we got Jaden in the chat who subscribed. Thank you so much, Jaden, for subscribing. Then we've got is Alexis in the chat who subscribed to me. Thank you so much, Alexis, for subscribing. My next subscriber is... Thank you, everybody. Give it up for Kevin. Everyone, give it up for Kevin. Shout out to Kevin. He liked and subscribed. Shout out to Kevin. All right, then we got is Villo in the chat who subscribed. Thank you so much, Villa, for subscribing. Then we got his Casual in the chat who subscribed. Thank you so much, Casual, for subscribing. Our next subscriber in the chat is Daniel. Here you go. Here you go, Daniel. Thank you so much for subscribing, Daniel. Then we got is Dom in the chat who subscribed. Thank you so much, Dom. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Nicholas. Here you go, Nicholas. Thank you so much for subscribing, Nicholas. My next subscriber in the chat is Millie. Everybody give it up for Millie. Where are you from, Millie? Where are you watching from? Tell me in the chat. Then we got is Zane in the chat who subscribed. Thank you so much, Zane, for subscribing. Everybody give it up for Zane. All right, then we got is Oscar. Everybody give it up for Oscar. Shout out to Oscar. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing, Oscar. All right. Then we've got is Tommy in the chat. Thank you so much, Tommy, for subscribing. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Amia. Thank you so much, Amia, for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Rebecca. Here you go, Rebecca. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then we got is Jason in the chat. Everybody give it up for Jason. Shout out to Jason. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing, Jason. Here you go. Thank you. Then we got is here you go. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Bang Chan. All right, Bang Chan. Thank you so much for subscribing. Bang Chan, everybody give it up for Bang Chan. All right, then we got is Olivia in the chat who subscribed. Thank you so much, Olivia, for subscribing. Everybody give it up for Olivia. Then we got is Deshaun in the chat who subscribed. Deshaun, thank you so much for subscribing. Then we got is Prodas in the chat. Here you go, Prodas. Thank you so much for subscribing, Prodas. Here you go. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Isaac. Thank you so much, Isaac, for subscribing. I'm going to give it up for Isaac. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Nimali. Here you go, Nimali. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Kitty. Here you go, Kitty. Thank you so much for subscribing, Kitty. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Layla. Here you go, Layla. Thank you so much for subscribing, Layla. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Isa. Here you go, Isa. Thank you so much for subscribing, Isa. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Gabe. Here you go, Gabe. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Hunter. Everybody give it up for Hunter. All right, here you go, Hunter. Thank you so much, Hunter. Then my next subscriber in the chat is William. Here you go, William. Thank you so much for subscribing, William. My next subscriber in the chat is Zorro. Here you go, Zorro. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then we have is Enrico in the chat who subscribed. Thank you so much, Enrico, for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Emmy. Thank you so much, Emmy, for subscribing to me. Everybody drop your names in the chat. And where are you all watching from? Write your country name next to your name. All right, then we've got is Altaf. Here you go, Altaf. Thank you so much for subscribing. Here you go, Altaf. And my next subscriber in the chat is Felix. Here you go, Felix. Thank you so much for subscribing, Felix. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Katie. All right, Katie. Thank you so much for subscribing, Katie. My next subscriber in the chat is Dilly. Thank you so much, Dilly, for subscribing. Everybody give it up for Dilly. My next subscriber in the chat is Johan. Here you go, Joe. And thank you so much for subscribing. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Steph. Here you go, Steph. Thank you so much for subscribing, Steph. Then we've got his Olives in the chat who subscribed. Thank you, Olives, for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Regan. Here you go, Regan. Thank you so much for subscribing, Regan. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Kaja. Here you go, Kaja. Thank you so much for subscribing, Kaja. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Lily. Everybody give it up for Lily. Shout out to Lily. Thank you so much for subscribing and liking, Lily. Thank you. Then we got his Amber in the chat who subscribed. Thank you, Amber. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Alicia. All right, Alicia. Here you go. Thank you so much, Alicia, for subscribing. Then we've got is Lucy in the chat. Thank you so much, Lucy, for subscribing. Lucy, thank you, thank you. Then we got is Lacey in the chat who subscribed. Thank you so much, Lacey, for subscribing. Then we got is Callie in the chat who also subscribed. Everybody give it up for Callie. All right, my next subscriber in the chat is Mary. Everybody give it up for Mary. Thank you so much, Mary, for subscribing. All right. Then we got is Muhammad in the chat. Everybody give it up for Muhammad. He wrote an entire paragraph. All right, here you go. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Lakmel. Here you go, Lakmel. Thank you so much for subscribing, Lakmel. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Lee Ray. Here you go, Lee Ray. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then my next subscriber, it is Roman. Thank you, Roman, for subscribing. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Abby. Thank you so much, Abby, for subscribing. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Connie. All right, everybody give it up for Connie. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Angela. Everybody give it up for Angela. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Gloria. Thank you so much, Gloria, for subscribing. My next subscriber, it is Geminit. Is that how do you pronounce your name? Here you go. Where are you watching from, Geminit? Then my next subscriber is Rocky in the chat who subscribed. Thank you so much, Rocky. My next subscriber is Gia. Thank you so much, Gia. Am I pronouncing your name right? Then we've got is Judy in the chat. Thank you, Judy. Everybody give it up for Judy. Thank you so much, Judy, for subscribing. Then we got is Finn in the chat. Thank you so much, Finn, for subscribing to me. Then we got Linda. All right, Linda. Thank you so much for subscribing to me, Linda. My next subscriber is Zell. How are you doing, Zell? Where are you watching from? Tell me in the chat. Then we got is Ruby in the chat. Thank you so much, Ruby, for subscribing to me. Everybody give it up for Ruby. Then we got is Ariel in the chat. Thank you, Ariel, so much for subscribing. Then we've got my next subscriber in the chat is Eden. Here you go, Eden. Thank you so much for subscribing, Eden. Then we got is Duarte. Thank you so much, Duarte, for subscribing. Am I pronouncing your name right, Duarte? Tell me. Then my next subscriber is Annabelle. All right, Annabelle. Everybody give it up for Annabelle. All right, then my next subscriber in the chat is Lay. Thank you so much, Lay, for subscribing. My next subscriber is Leonidas. Everybody give it up for Leonidas. He subscribed and liked. Thank you so much. Shout out to Leonidas. Then we got is Mason in the chat. Thank you so much, Mason, for subscribing. Everybody give it up for Mason. Then my next subscriber is Kamala in the chat. Thank you so much, Kamala, for subscribing to me. Then we got Ren in the chat who subscribed. Thank you so much, Ren. I love all my subscribers who subscribe and like. All right, Angus, thank you so much for subscribing. Then my next subscriber is Tristan. Here you go, Tristan, for subscribing. Thank you so much for subscribing and liking. Shout out to Tristan. Then we got is Maeve. Thank you so much for subscribing, Maeve. Am I pronouncing your name right? Please let me know. Then we got is, all right, Genesis in the chat. Everybody give it up for Genesis. Genesis, where are you watching from? Tell me in the comments. All right, then my next subscriber is Lola in the chat. Everybody give it up for Lola. Thank you so much, Lola, for subscribing. Then we've got is Isaac in the chat. Thank you so much, Isaac, for subscribing. Then my next subscriber is Ian. All right, everybody give it up for Ian. Thank you so much for subscribing, Ian. Then we've got is Emma in the chat who subscribed. Thank you so much, Emma, for subscribing. Then my next subscriber in the chat. Okay, You are from Philippines. All right, then we got is Ferlin in the chat. Thank you so much for subscribing, Ferlin. Thank you so much. Then we got is Ryan in the chat. Everybody give it up for Ryan. All right, Ryan. Then we got is Maya in the chat. All right, thank you so much, Maya, for subscribing. Thank you so much. Then we got is Cam in the chat. Thank you so much, Cam, for subscribing. Thank you so much. Then we've got is Stabo in the chat. All right, Stabo, welcome to my live. Then we've got is Susie in the chat. Everybody give it up for Susie. All right, thank you so much. Then we got is Denise in the chat. Thank you so much, Denise. Here you go. My next subscriber is Body. Thank you so much, Body, for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Sean. Thank you so much, Sean, for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is James. Everybody give it up for James. James, thank you so much for subscribing. Then we've got is Frankie in the chat. Thank you so much, Frankie, for subscribing. Here you go, Frankie. Then my next subscriber is Solar. Here you go, Solar. Thank you so much for subscribing. Solar, everybody give it up for Solar. Then we got is Dima. Everybody give it up for Dima. Everybody in the chat, give it up for Dima. Thank you so much for subscribing and liking. Shout out to Dima. Excuse me. Then we got is Reggie. Reggie in the chat. Reggie, thank you so much for subscribing, Reggie. Then we got is Angel in the chat. Thank you so much, Angel, for subscribing. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Canna. Thank you so much, Canna, for subscribing. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Jack. Jack. Everybody give it up for Jack. Thank you so much. Then we got is Latabo. Thank you so much, Latabo, for subscribing to me. Then we got is my next subscriber in the chat is give it up for Winnie. Everybody give it up for Winnie. All right, Winnie. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Jude. All right, Jude. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you for subscribing. Then we got is Hunter in the chat. Thank you, Hunter, for subscribing. Then my next subscriber in the chat is all right, Devon. Here you go, Devon. Thank you so much for subscribing, Devon. Thank you. Then we've got is Angelica in the chat. Everybody give it up for Angelica. Everybody give it up for Angelica. All right. Angelica, where are you watching from? Then we got is Alvi in the chat. Alvi, thank you so much for subscribing. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Anthony. All right, Anthony. Thank you so much for subscribing, Anthony. My next subscriber in the chat is Max. Thank you so much, Max. Then we got is Remington in the chat. Remington. Thank you, Remington, for subscribing. There you go. My next subscriber in the chat is Ritha Bile. Here you go, Ritha Bile. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is all right, Lil. Thank you so much for subscribing, Lil. My next subscriber in the chat is Yashi. How are you doing, Yashi? Where are you watching from? Yashi, tell me, where are you watching from? Then we got is Eliza in the chat who subscribed. Thank you so much, Eliza, for subscribing. Then we got is Gavin in the chat. Thank you so much, Gavin, for subscribing. All right, Gavin. All right, after Gavin, we got is Amelia in the chat. Thank you so much, Amelia, for subscribing. Everybody give it up for Amelia. Then we've got is Dom in the chat. Thank you, Dom, for subscribing. Then we got is Manya. All right, Manya. Thank you so much for subscribing, Manya. My next subscriber in the chat is all right. It is Brownie. All right, Brownie. Thank you so much for subscribing, Brownie. Here you go. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then we've got is Held in the chat. Thank you so much for subscribing, Held. My next subscriber. Let me see the chat, guys. Let me see the chat. It is Eddie. Thank you so much, Eddie, for subscribing. Thank you, Eddie. My next subscriber after Eddie is Kaysen. Thank you so much, Kaysen, for subscribing to me. My next subscriber in the chat is Kayla. Everybody give it up for Kayla. Thank you for Kayla for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Mofo King. Mo, here you go. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then my next subscriber in the chat is, all right, it is Bukosi, all right, Bukosi, thank you so much for subscribing, Bukosi. My next subscriber in the chat is Kish. How are you doing, Kish? Where are you watching from? Tell me your country name. Then we've got is Finlay in the chat. All right, everybody give it up for Finlay. My next subscriber in the chat is Louie. Of course, I remember you, Louie. You come to my live every now and then. Yes, you are awesome. Then we got his Michaela. Thank you so much for subscribing, Michaela. Hold on, Michaela. Mikali. All right. Here you go. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Sandra. Thank you so much for subscribing, Sandra. Here you go. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Nushi. How are you, Nushi? Thank you so much for subscribing, Nushi. My next subscriber in the chat is Eliza. Everybody give it up for Eliza. Everyone give it up for Eliza. Shout out to Eliza for subscribing and liking. Thank you so much. Then we got his Gabriel in the chat. Thank you so much, Gabriel. Thank you. Everybody hit that like button. Let's go. Then we got his Otto in the chat. Thank you so much, Otto, for subscribing. Then we've got is Bubaka. Thank you so much, Bubaka, for subscribing. Here you go, Bubaka. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Ravi. Thank you so much, Ravi, for subscribing. All right, my next subscriber in the chat is Elliot. All right, Elliot, where are you watching from? My next subscriber in the chat is Dean. Here you go, Dean. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Lenny. All right, Lenny, welcome to my live. Thank you so much for subscribing, Lenny. Then we've got is Mark in the chat. Thank you so much, Mark, for subscribing. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Sarah. All right, Sarah, where are you from? Where are you watching from, Sarah? Tell me. Then we got is Shafia in the chat. Everybody give it up for Shafia. Thank you so much for subscribing, Shafia. Where are you watching from? Tell me. Then we've got is Alana. All right, Alana, thank you so much for subscribing. All right, then my next subscriber is Parol. Thank you so much, Parol, for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Kyrie. Thank you so much, Kyrie, for subscribing. Everybody give it up for Kyrie. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Arthur. Thank you, Arthur, so much for subscribing to me. Everybody give it up for Arthur. Then my next subscriber, it is London. Everybody give it up for London. Thank you so much for subscribing, London. All right, my next subscriber in the chat is Yasmin. All right, Yasmin, how are you doing? Thank you so much, Yasmin, for subscribing. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Amber. And then after Amber, we've got is my next subscriber in the chat is all right, it is Bontel. Here you go, Bontel. Thank you so much for subscribing, Bontel. Everybody drop your names in the chat, and next to your name, write your country name. Next to your name, write your country name, guys. I want to know where you are all watching from. All right, Daniel, thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Theo. All right, here you go, Theo. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Seyden. All right, Seyden, thank you so much for subscribing. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Renee. Here you go, Renee. Thank you so much for subscribing, Renee. My next subscriber in the chat is BMNet. Here you go, BMNet. Thank you so much for subscribing, BMNet. My next subscriber after BMNet, it is Emma. Everybody give it up for Emma. Thank you so much for subscribing, Emma. Thank you. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Lily. Everybody give it up for Lily. All right, Lily. Thank you so much for subscribing, Lily. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Omer. All right, Omers. Thank you so much for subscribing. Everybody give it up for Omers. My next subscriber in the chat is Omeria. Thank you so much, Omeria, for subscribing. All right, thank you. I love all my subscribers who like and subscribe. Thank you so much, Skylar, for subscribing. All right, my next subscriber in the chat is Maeve. All right, Maeve. Thank you so much for subscribing. All right, my next subscriber in the chat is Jaden. All right, Jaden, thank you so much for subscribing, Jaden. Everybody give it up for Jaden. And my next subscriber in the chat is Hugo. Everyone give it up for Hugo. Guys, everybody drop your names in the chat. Everyone, every single one of you drop your name in the chat and write your country name next to your name so I know where you are all watching from. Riri, thank you so much for subscribing. We got Alice in the chat. Thank you so much, Alice, for subscribing to me. My next subscriber after Alice is Min. Where are you watching from, Min? Then we've got is Blake from UK, United Kingdom. Blake, give it up for Blake. Then my next subscriber in the chat is... We've got is Heaven. All right, Heaven, thank you so much for subscribing, Heaven. Thank you. My next subscriber in the chat is... It is. All right, then we've got is... All right, let's go. Everybody, Leo in the chat. Thank you so much for subscribing, Leo. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Dylan. Dylan is from the UK. All right. Then my next subscriber in the chat is John. All right. Everybody give it up for John. My next subscriber in the chat is Lorenzo. Here you go, Lorenzo. Thank you so much for subscribing, Lorenzo. My next subscriber in the chat is Matthew. Here you go, Matthew. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Ava. Here you go, Ava. My next subscriber in the chat is... It is Lulu from the United Kingdom. Welcome to my live, Lulu. Welcome. And then we've got is Leo from UK. All right. My next subscriber in the chat is Millie. Everybody give it up for Millie. Thank you so much for subscribing, Millie. My next subscriber in the chat is... Everybody give it up for Benjamin. Here you go, Benjamin. Thank you so much. Whoops, sorry, Benjamin. Here, let me try that again. Here you go, Benjamin. Thank you so much for subscribing, Benjamin. Then my next subscriber in the chat, it is Noah. Thank you so much, Noah, for subscribing. Here you go. Thank you so much for subscribing, Noah. Then we've got is Camden from Canada. All right, Camden. Thank you so much for subscribing. Guys, don't go mean you have to write your name. And next to your name, write your country name. Okay, then we got is Riley in the chat. All right, thank you so much. Thank you. All right, then we've got is Amari in the chat. Thank you so much, Amari, for subscribing. Then we've got is... My next subscriber name is... All right, then we got Satish. You have to write your name, Satija. Then we've got is Sophia from UK. Here you go, Sophia. Thank you so much for subscribing. And my next subscriber in the chat is Amy. Thank you so much, Amy, for subscribing. All right, my next subscriber in the chat is Max. And he is from United States. Max is from the United States. Shout out to Max. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. Then we got his Mike in the California. Mike in the chat. Thank you so much. And he is from California. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Kaysen. Where are you from, Kaysen? Here you go, Kaysen. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then we've got is Evelyn in the chat, and Evelyn is from the US. Here you go, Evelyn. Thank you so much for subscribing. And my next subscriber in the chat is Moana. Thank you so much, Moana, for subscribing. Then my next subscriber in the chat is... Bella from London. Everybody give it up for Bella. Shout out to Bella. Thank you so much, Bella. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Reggie. Here you go, Reggie. Thank you so much for subscribing, Reggie. My next subscriber in the chat is Henry from UK. Henry, thank you so much for subscribing. All right, my next subscriber in the chat is Yasmin Sia. Then we got Tyler in the chat. Thank you so much for subscribing, Tyler. All right, my next subscriber in the chat is Marine. Thank you so much, Marine, for subscribing. Everybody give it up for Marine. Thank you so much. Then we've got Callie in the chat who subscribed. Thank you so much, Callie. Guys, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much. Then we've got Samantha in the chat. Thank you, Samantha, for subscribing. Here you go, Samantha. My next subscriber in the chat is... Everybody give it up for Ezra. Everybody give it up for Ezra. All right, Ezra. Thank you so much for subscribing. Ezra. Then we've got Sam in the chat. All right, Sam, let's go. Then my next subscriber, it is Bruno. Bruno, thank you so much for subscribing. And he is from Brazil. Bruno is from Brazil. Then we got his Genesis, and Genesis from... All right, Genesis. Show. Okay, Genesis, I hope you recover soon. I hope you are fine. I hope you get well. All right, she just came from hospital, I think. Everybody give it up for Genesis. Then we've got Is Hallie in the chat. Thank you so much for subscribing. Hallie, then my next subscriber in the chat is Harry from England. Here you go, Harry. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Walter. Thank you so much, Walter, for subscribing. Thank you, Walter. Then my next subscriber in the chat then we got Daniel in the chat. Here you go. Daniel is from California. Here you go, Daniel. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Bingy. Thank you so much, Bingy, for subscribing. Everybody give it up for Bingy. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Bojan, here you go, Bojan. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Fran from UK. Fran, all right, everybody give it up for Fran. My next subscriber in the chat is Joanne. Thank you so much, Joanne, for subscribing. Everybody give it up for Joanne. My next subscriber in the chat is Hi. Thank you. Are you writing hi or are you writing your name? Alex, what are you? Okay, Valerie, here you go. Valerie, thank you so much for subscribing. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Lisa. Everybody give it up for Lisa in the chat. Then we've got his chat in the chat. Thank you so much for subscribing, chat. Then my next subscriber in the chat, it is Alice. Here you go, Alice. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then we've got his Nicole in the chat. Thank you so much, Nicole, for subscribing. Then my next subscriber in the chat is, everybody give it up for Hassan. Thank you so much, Hassan. Here you are. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Halima. Thank you so much, Halima. Where are you watching from, Halima? Then my next subscriber in the chat is, everybody give it up for Isaac. Thank you so much, Isaac, for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Brian. Brian is from Italy. All right, here you go. All right, then my next subscriber in the chat is, everybody give it up for Bailey. Here you go, Bailey. Thank you so much for subscribing, Bailey. Then my next subscriber in the chat, it is Matt. Everybody give it up for Matt. Everyone give it up for Matt. Everyone give it up for Matt. Then my next subscriber in the chat is, all right, Yazdan. Thank you so much, Yazdan, for subscribing. Everybody give it up for Yazdan. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Billy. All right, here you go, Billy. And my next subscriber in the chat is Larissa. Thank you so much, Larissa, for subscribing. Here you go, Larissa. My next subscriber in the chat is Liana. Here you go, Liana. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is, everybody give it up for Ahmed. Thank you so much, Ahmed, for subscribing. Am I pronouncing your name right, Ahmed? My next subscriber in the chat, it is Matthew. All right, Matthew, thank you so much for subscribing. All right. Where are you watching from, Matthew? Tell me. Then we got his Alf in the chat. Thank you so much, Alf, for subscribing to me. Then my next subscriber is Zuzu. Thank you so much, Zuzu, for subscribing. All right. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Amanda. Everybody give it up for Amanda. Thank you so much, Amanda, for subscribing. Then my next subscriber is Kira. Thank you so much, Kira, for subscribing. Here you go, Kira. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Isabel. Here you go, Isabel. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Phobe. All right, Phobe. Thank you so much for subscribing, Phobe. Then my next subscriber in the chat is, everybody give it up for Bayanda. Where are you watching from, Bayanda? That's a very interesting name. And my next subscriber in the chat is Carter. Here you go, Carter. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Shane. Everybody give it up for Shane. Thank you so much for subscribing, Shane. My next subscriber in the chat is Midhuna. Thank you so much, Midhuna, for subscribing. Midhuna, thank you, Midhuna. My next subscriber in the chat is, let me see the chat. Izzy, thank you so much for subscribing, Izzy. All right, my next subscriber in the chat is Jamie. Thank you so much, Jamie, for subscribing. And my next subscriber in the chat is Kuze. Thank you so much, Kuze, for subscribing. All right. My next subscriber in the chat is Adnan. Thank you, Adnan, so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Inara. Everybody give it up for Inara. All right, where are you watching from, Inara? Then we got his Isla in the chat. Thank you so much, Isla, for subscribing. Then after that, we've got my next subscriber is Elizabeth. Here you go, Elizabeth. Thank you so much for subscribing, Elizabeth. My next subscriber after that is Solio, thank you so much, Solile. Am I pronouncing your name right, Solile? Then my next subscriber, it is Layana. Thank you so much, Layana, for subscribing. Where are you watching from? My next subscriber is Rhea. Here you go, Rhea. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then we got is Ruben in the chat. Everybody, give it up for Ruben. Where are you watching from? Guys, write your country name next to your name. Let's go. Then we got is Dinesh. Thank you so much, Dinesh, for subscribing. Here you go. Thank you. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Radeja. Here you go, Radeja. Thank you for subscribing. My next subscribing. Okay. Bongan is from South Africa. Okay. My next subscriber in the chat, it is Lawrence. All right, Lawrence, thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Flawley. Here you go, Flawley. Thank you so much for subscribing, Flawley. My next subscriber is Wiljar. Here you go, Wiljar. Where are you from? All right, my next subscriber in the chat is Mara. Here you go, Mara. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Bobby. Everybody give it up for Bobby. Everyone give it up for Bobby. All right, Bobby. Then my next subscriber, it is. Everybody drop your names in the chat right now. Kyle, here you go. Kyle. My next subscriber in the chat is, here you go. Everybody drop your names in the chat. Everyone, let's go. Then we've got Sam in the chat. Thank you so much, Sam, for subscribing. My next subscriber is Khaled in the chat. Here you go, Khaled. Thank you so much for subscribing, Khaled. My next subscriber in the chat, it is Tyre. Thank you so much, Tyre. Thank you for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Ahmed. Here you go, Ahmed. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Adam. All right. Next subscriber in the chat, it is Dolly. All right, Dolly, welcome to my live. Welcome, Dolly. My next subscriber, it is Alicia. All right, Alicia, thank you so much for subscribing, Alicia. Where are you watching from? Then we got his Lacko in the chat. Lacko, welcome in. My next subscriber, it is Adhaven. All right, Adhaven, thank you so much for subscribing, Adhaven. My next subscriber in the chat is Passily. There you go, Passily. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is, everybody give it up for Ryder. All right, Ryder, welcome in. My next subscriber in the chat is, everybody give it up for Chloe. Here you go, Chloe. My next subscriber in the chat is Ahaz. All right, here you go, Ahaz. Thank you so much for subscribing, Ahaz. My next subscriber in the chat is Jamal. Thank you so much, Jamal, for subscribing. Then we've got is Jack in the chat. Jack, welcome back, Jack. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Kaio. Where are you watching from, Kaio? My next subscriber in the chat is Amber. Okay, Amber, here you go. All right. My next subscriber name is Alex. All right, Alex. Everybody give it up for Alex. My next subscriber name is D. Here you go. Then my next subscriber in the chat is AJ. Here you go, AJ. Thank you so much for subscribing. And my next subscriber in the chat is, you're welcome, Adam. Then we've got is Jamie in the chat. Jamie, here you go. Everybody drop your names in the chat. Everyone drop your name in the chat. Let me get Miles. Here you go, Miles. Then my next subscriber in the chat, it is Muhammad. Here you go, Muhammad. All right. Here you go. Thank you so much for subscribing. Here you are. My next subscriber in the chat, it is Iago. Thank you so much, Iago, for subscribing. Then my next subscriber in the chat, it is Mark. Mark. All right, Mark. All right. Thank you so much for subscribing, Mark. My next subscriber in the chat is Freddie. Where are you watching from, Freddie? Where are you watching from? My next subscriber in the chat, it is Claire. Here you go, Claire. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Justin. Here you go, Justin. Thank you so much for subscribing, Justin. Thank you. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Anson. Thank you so much, Anson, for subscribing to me. My next subscriber is Anthony. Thank you so much for subscribing, Anthony. My next subscriber in the chat is Riley. Here you go, Riley. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Laura. Here you go, Laura. Thank you so much for subscribing, Laura. My next subscriber in the chat is Leax. Here you go, Leax. Thank you so much for subscribing, Leax. My next subscriber in the chat is Karina. Here you go, Karina. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber, it is Deegan. Here you go, Deegan. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat, it is Jordan. All right, Jordan. Everybody drop your names in the chat. Everyone drop your names in the chat and write your country name next to it. Bubaka. Here you go, Bubaka. Thank you so much for subscribing. Everybody hit that like button. Everybody hit that like button. Then we got his Danny. Everybody give it up for Danny. Shout out to Danny. Everybody shout out to Danny. You liked and subscribed. Thank you so much, Danny, for liking and subscribing. Then we got his Cezio in the chat. Thank you so much, Cezio, for subscribing. Then we've got is Tahir in the chat. Thank you so much, Tahir, for subscribing. Then we've got is George in the chat who subscribed. Thank you, George, for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Joshua. Here you go. Everybody like and subscribe, guys. Share my live as well. Share my live, guys. Kyrie in the chat. Thank you so much, Kyrie, for subscribing. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Delia. Thank you so much, Delia. Am I pronouncing your name right, Delia? I'm really sorry if I'm not. Then we've got is Sophia in the chat. Thank you so much, Sophia, for subscribing. Where are you watching from, Sophia? Tell me. Then we've got is Joshua, what flag is that? Joshua, you need to tell me what flag is that. Tell me in the chat, guys. Tell me in the chat, Joshua. Then we've got is my next subscriber in the chat is, thank you so much. Then we've got is Oakley in the chat. Here you go, Oakley. Thank you so much for subscribing, Oakley. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Kyle. Here you go, Kyle. Thank you so much for subscribing, Kyle. Then my next subscriber in the chat is, okay, Danny, you're from Bangladesh. All right, awesome. Then we got is Ayla in the chat. Thank you so much, Ayla, for subscribing. And my next subscriber in the chat is Planger. Thank you so much, Planger, for subscribing. Here you go, Planger. Thank you. My next subscriber in the chat, it is Jameson. Jameson, thank you so much for subscribing. Everybody give it up for Jameson. Where are you from, Jameson? Then we got is Nina in the chat. All right, Nina, thank you so much for subscribing. Then we got is Luca in the chat. Thank you so much, Luca, for subscribing. My next subscriber is Sub. Thank you so much, Sub, for subscribing. My next subscriber after that, it is. All right, my next subscriber is Daxton. All right, thank you so much, Daxton, for subscribing. My Kyle is from US. All right, cool. Then we've got is Henry in the chat. Thank you so much, Henry, for subscribing. All right. Let's go. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Sunny. All right, everybody give it up for Sunny. How are you, Sunny? How are you doing? And my next subscriber in the chat is Gossi. Am I pronouncing your name right? Gossi, here you go. Is the K silent or not? Tell me. Then we got is Amelia in the chat. Here you go, Amelia. Thank you so much for subscribing. Amelia, everybody give it up for Amelia. Then we got is Belmir in the chat who subscribed. Thank you so much, Belmir. Much love to all my subscribers. Thank you so much. Then we got is Big Boys, here you go. Big Boys. All right, here you go. All right, thank you so much for subscribing. Then my next subscriber in the chat, it is Atif. Thank you so much, Atif, for subscribing. Here you go. My next subscriber is Alexia in the chat. Alexia, thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat, it is Macy. Thank you so much, Macy, for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat, it is... All right, my next subscriber is Liumo. Here you go, Liumo. Thank you so much for subscribing, Liumo. My next subscriber in the chat is Tongo. Everybody give it up for Tongo. Thank you so much, Tongo, for subscribing. My next subscriber, it is Harsha. Thank you so much, Harsha, for subscribing. All right, my next subscriber, it is Nas. All right, everybody give it up for Nas. Thank you so much, Nas. Jack, thank you so much for subscribing. Jack, thank you. Then we've got is Tom in the chat. Thank you so much for subscribing, Tom. Then we've got is May in the chat. Thank you so much, May, for subscribing. All right, Tom and May, thank you so much. Then my next subscriber in the chat is... Everybody give it up for Destiny. Everybody give it up for Destiny. Shout out to Destiny. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. Thank you. And also for sharing my live. Thank you, Destiny. Then we got is Bayana in the chat. Bayana. But sorry, what was it? Banaya. Here you go, Banaya. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Malika. Thank you so much for subscribing, Malika. Thank you so much. My next subscriber in the chat, it is everybody drop your names in the chat. Let's go, Ali. Thank you so much for subscribing, Ali. My next subscriber in the Bayanda. Sorry, Bayanda. Here you go. Here you go, Bayana. Thank you so much for subscribing, Bayana. Here you are, Bayana. Thank you so much for subscribing. Everybody give it up for Bayana. Everyone give it up for Bayana. Then we got his Demia in the chat. Demia in the chat. Thank you so much. All right, everybody like this live. Everybody double tap. Then we've got is Ama in the chat. How are you, Ama? Thank you so much for subscribing, Ama. Everybody give it up for Ama. My next subscriber, it is Nadia. Here you go, Nadia. Thank you so much for subscribing. Everybody give it up for Nadia. All right, then we got his Laura in the chat. Thank you so much, Laura, for subscribing. My next subscriber, it is Mia in the chat. Thank you so much, Mia, for subscribing. All right, my next subscriber in the chat is Baba. Here you go. Thank you so much, Baba, for subscribing to me. Then my next subscriber, it is Jackson. All right, Jackson, thank you so much for subscribing, Jackson. Then my next subscriber in the chat, it is Angelina. Everybody give it up for Angelina. All right, Angelina, welcome to my live. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber. All right. My next subscriber in the chat is Alexander. All right, Alexander. Which country are you watching from, Alexander? Tell me. Please tell me in the chat, Alexander. Here you go. Thank you so much for subscribing, Alexander. Here you are. All right, Alexander. My next subscriber in the chat is... All right, my next subscriber, it is Lila in the chat. Thank you so much, Lila, for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Flavi. Hold on. Flavi, here you go, Flavi. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat, it is Charlie. Thank you so much, Charlie, for subscribing. Here you go. My next subscriber, it is Heater. Here you go, Heater. Thank you so much for subscribing, Heater. Thank you. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Tegan. Here you go, Tegan. Thank you so much for subscribing, Tegan. My next subscriber in the chat, it is... Everybody hit that like button. Then we got his Aaron in the chat. Here you go, Aaron. Thank you so much for subscribing. My next subscriber, it is Phobe in the chat. Thank you so much, Phobe, for subscribing to me. My next subscriber in the chat, it is Mitchell. Thank you so much, Mitchell, for subscribing. Here you go, Mitchell. My next subscriber, it is Kingston from Canada. Everybody give it up for Kingston. He is from Canada. All right, Kingston, here you go. And my next subscriber in the chat is... Everybody drop your names in the chat. Then we got is Ella in the chat. All right. Ella, thank you so much for subscribing, Ella. Then my next subscriber in the chat is Oreo. Thank you so much, Oreo, for subscribing. My next subscriber in the chat is Kenzie. Thank you so much, Kenzie, for subscribing to me. Kenzie, thank you so much. And my next subscriber in the chat, it is David. Everybody give it up for David. Thank you so much, David, for subscribing. subscribing. The next subscriber in the chat is Tyler. Here you go, Tyler. Thank you, Tyler. My next connectivity problem. All right, I am back. Then we got his in the chat. Thank you so much, Hannah, for subscribing. Then we've got